everyone, welcome back to the video series of the object-oriented programming with Java. Our today's topic for this particular video, that is the abstract class and interface. I am an instructor Mr. Ankit Patel. So let's start with the abstract class. So here, what do you mean by the abstract class? So abstract class, that is the collection of abstract as well as non-abstract method and data member. So what is the difference between normal class and abstract class? So in abstract class, we can create a one or more abstract method, and that method, the implementation of that method, that we need to implement that particular method in its subclass. So the advantage of the abstract class, that gives only the abstract view of the data. So I have already told you about the what do you mean by the abstraction in the concept of object-oriented programming video. So here that concept we will implement by using the abstract class and the interface. So when we create an abstract class, we are creating a base class, and that might have one or more complete method, but at least one or more method are left incomplete, and that uncompleted method is declared as an abstract method by using the abstract keyword, and that method we are overriding in its subclass. So just clear one thing, whenever the method declared as an abstract, and if one of its subclass, and if one class can override that particular class, at that time you have to override that abstract method. Means the concept is not like inheritance. In inheritance case, it is not compulsory that all the data of the class we need to inherit, but whenever the class is abstract and within that class one abstract method is there, so you must, or you have to implement that abstract method in its subclass. So I will also explain with this programming what is the use of the abstract class and how to run this particular program. Now next topic, that is the interface. Now interface, it is a collection of abstract method and the final data member. Like if you are talking about the abstract class, the interface is a more restricted form, because there is no implementation of method in an abstract class. So you have to implement that particular method in its subclass. So interface is similar as a class, but their method do not have any definition body, and data member contain only constant. Such the interface are used to hide the implementation detail, and this is called as a pure abstraction. Interface is the example of the pure abstraction. Abstract class is not an example of the pure abstraction, because there is some implementation of non-abstract method, but here in an interface all the method is by default abstract. So interface are used to implement the multiple inheritance. I am talking about whenever I am introduced the inheritance, I have told you which object-oriented concept not supported in Java, that is a multiple inheritance. So that type of structure we can implement using the interface. So one more important question that is asked in the examination, that what is the difference between abstract class and interface? So you can tell, like in abstract class there is a combination of abstract as well as non-abstract method, but in interface all the method are the abstract. Interface that supports the multiple inheritance, in a abstract class it does not support the multiple inheritance. By default the data member in abstract class are, we can say that it is static, non-static is there, final, non-final variable is there, but in the case of the interface all the method are the final and static. So you can differentiate with the syntax as well as the program. So I will also explain with the programming what is the difference between abstract class and the interface. So without wasting so much time, let's start the programming. Now in this session I will show you the example of the abstract class and interface. So let's start. I am just creating a class, that is a temp. Now in this particular class I just want to create the example of the abstract class. So abstract class that contain the abstract method as well as non-abstract method. But suppose if you want to use the abstract method, suppose I am just using the abstract I am just using a method abstract void show. So abstract method will not contain a body like this. Suppose if you implement that particular type, this will generate an error. So I am just semicolon, write only semicolon. But suppose if you want to use an abstract method, then that method is declared as an abstract. That class must be an abstract class. Abstract. Okay, so first, whenever you want to use abstract method, so first of all the class must be an abstract class. Now I am just creating a class that is a class that extend a temp. Now here what happened? So let's see the example again. I am just creating a two method, one normal method, a add method is there. In add method, I am not implement that particular method. I am just not writing any statement. I am just blank it out. Now I am just want to use a show method. So here the A class, that is a subclass of the temporary. So the A class have to override this method. If A class is not override the void show method, I am just giving the example. I am creating a main class like demo. First of all, I will show you the structure, then in detail I will show you. So let's run this code again. Public static void main, then string of argument is there. Then I am just creating the object of A class. There is no any data, so I am just only creating the object. Let's run this code first of all. You can see here error. A class is a not abstract and does not override the abstract method so. Does not override the abstract method so. So this is generated, this type of error is generated. This error is not for the add method. Why? Because add method is a non-abstract method. So that's why the error is only generated for the show method, because we have not implement this method. So now let's implement this method, void show, then system.out.println, and I am just writing only a simple message, that is the A class method, and you can call it from the main. So hope you understand this code. Now if you compile, the error will be removed. This is another type of error, reach end of the file, because the bracket is missing over here. Now let's compile it. There is again one error is there, spelling mistake, print ln is there. Now let's compile it. Now if you run this code, this will show a class method. So this is example of the abstract class. So what do you mean by the abstract class? So this will give the some a feature that is called as an abstraction. So using abstract class, you can create a one abstract, you can define a one simple model, and that model will be override by the all its subclass. Like if you want to find the create a class method called as an area, and that area method will be override by all the circle, triangle. That type of structure we can implement. That type of program are asked in the exam also. So you create a one class shape called as an abstract class, create a one abstract method area, and that area method will be override by the circle class, triangle class, rectangle class. This type of program will be asked in exam. Okay, so hope you understand this structure. First of all, I will told you the all this programming that normally that asked in the examination, but in this session I will show you this structure, not the exact program, what type of program asked in the examination. So this is the example of the just structure of the abstract class. The abstract, suppose if you want to create an abstract method, so that particular class must be an abstract class. So this is the example of the abstract class. Now let's start the concept that is called as an interface. So for interface, you need to just write down the keyword interface. Now I am just creating the interface. Suppose I am creating the interface P1, interface P. Interface P. What is interface? It contains the collection of abstract method. So void show, there will be no any implementation because interface cannot contain a non-abstract. By default it is abstract method, so that's why you need to write down this semicolon, and I am just writing over here integer a is equals to 10. I am creating a one variable. So now I am creating another, because I just want to explain you the structure that call as a multiple inheritance. I want to implement that type of structure. That's why I am creating a many interface over here. So let's create another interface. I am just copying this particular line. Interface P, interface P1 that extend interface P, and that particular class contain the B variable that is equals to 20. Now let's again copy it, this particular line again. Interface P2 is there, and that is again a subclass of P, creating a one variable called as an C. One method is there. Let's copy paste this again. Interface P12, I am creating another interface that is a P12 that extends P1 comma P2. And let's create another variable that is a D. Now this line is supported in the Java. This is called as a multiple inheritance structure. Now here the P1 to extend P1 comma 2. In a class it is not possible. Suppose if you are creating a class P12 and class P1 to extend P1 comma P2, that is not possible. So now I have created an interface. Now interface, that is a collection of abstract method. So how to print the data of the interface? So for that you need to use a one class, and that class implements the interface. So suppose a class want to access the data of other class, a class is there, then we use the keyword extends. In one interface want the data of another interface, then we are using the keyword extends. Now one class, suppose here one class, a class called as an test class is there, that want to access the data of interface P12. So we need to just write down the keyword that is implements. Implements the P12. So but here the class that implements the P12, so for that we need to override the method that is a show method. But by default all the method of the interface is the public. So suppose if you are not writing a public over here, the compiler will generate a error. So we need to just write down over here public void show system.out.println, and I am just printing this value over here, variable value of A, B, C, D, B, C and D. So I am just, you can see over I am just close this line, you can see. Now what we have created, first of all we have created one interface, right? P1 is there, P2 is there, these both P1 and P2 are the subclass of P, and then created one another interface P12, that is a subclass of P1 and P2. Then if you want to print this data, I have created one class test that implement P12. and in show method I have just printed the value of a, b, c, d, and in that particular class, in the main class, I am just creating the object of the taste class, like taste t1, that is equals to new taste, and I am just calling only t1 dot show method. So that now if you run this particular code, you can see the output. If you run this code, this will print a 10, 20, 20, 20, because I have not changing the value of c and d variable, so that's why it will print. But now, as I told you earlier, that now you suppose if you are not writing a method as a public, so this is a weaker access level. This is an access specifier. Now there are the 4 type of access specifier in the Java: public, private, protected, and default. Right? The most powerful access specifier, that is a public, means if you are the method is public, you can access anywhere. Now default is some laser access specifier, some lazy access specifier compared to public. Now if you compile this line again, you can see the error. The taste cannot be implemented in so 1, 2. So attempting to assign a weaker access privilege, W as a weaker access privilege as a public. So that's why we need to write down a public, because the default method of all the interface is a by default public method. So hope you understand what is the use of the interface, what is the difference between interface and abstract class. You can compare it with the example also, as well as syntaxes also, right? So this is the end of the programming session. So thank you very much. If you have any doubt, you can feel free to ask me. Thank you very much.